Now then, who would have the floor?
Are you sure that guy knows what he's talking about?
I've listened to it 100 times and I still don't get it. However, his explanation explains things that physics can't, so there must be something in it. But as he said, it's all in the language. I mean, he's translated the principles from language, thousands of years old, and we just don't have the same concepts and words anymore. So, but he has related everything he's done to the scientists who founded the modern world, like Tesla, Faraday, Maxwell, Steinmetz, you never heard of?
Who the hell is that?
Who?
Who the hell is that?
Steinmetz created everything electrical. Steinmetz was Tesla's hero. And what we've done is we've replaced it by false gods like Prickstein, One Stone's dumbass motherfucker, and we've lost the whole principle. We just make up words now and we don't really understand it. That's the way they're trying to. I mean, the outflow of technology, which created electricity and generators and motors and stuff, it's 150 years old. It's fucking ancient. There's got to be stuff much more powerful than that. But they've used assholes like Einstein and Feynman and other people to obfuscate the principles, and you can see it. It's exactly what they've done. So this guy is calling it all bullshit, and he said you got to go back to like Faraday, who first started distinguishing magnets and current and stuff. But they were still using this technology. You telling me nothing's improved in 150 years? That's worse than medicine.
Well, it's certainly not medieval times.
But then you relate back to like prehistory and the way that they
Alright, she gone. Let's try it again.
They had something that we don't have to build the monuments the way they
I'm still there keeping an eye on the
move the stone, smooth it, mold it.
I'm still keeping an eye on the what you call it. Hey, y'all gonna take over Toxic Alley?
Technology.
And he did.
Every day.
Well, you better hurry up because there's some hyenas coming your way.
The technology they used was the same stuff that we'd use to build houses. It's commonplace, but we don't have it. We have nothing like it. So I'm trying to find out what he's talking about. And every time I listen to it, one more little piece falls into place.
He's talking about these nuts.
The trouble is he's using words like inertia that have been corrupted by modern physics, and I wish he'd use something different.
That word sounds more like a freaking Greek food.
Inertia, yeah. And commensurability, which is a big one, which I...
Gumball conspiracies.
Dad conspiracies.
Other people have have interpreted his work, but they actually he's on Coast to Coast tomorrow night. I gotta listen to it. He's been invited onto the UFO weirdo guy.
Which one?
Nuri, Coast to Coast. He's the guy who he does anything weird just to sell. But anyway, he's on there tomorrow. I'm interested to see what they talk about. But the whole thing, I mean, his whole basis, the whole basis of what he's talking about is ether, which everyone accepted it up to 1925, 1905, when Mr. Einstein, who stole everything from his brother, made a practical, an inaccurate and false argument that ether didn't exist, and he attributed properties to space, and Tesla
At the end of the story, we will sum it up on how Gumball had gas in the bathtub at 3 years old.
So what Einstein did is
because he wanted to make bubbles.
He hid the effects of ether in mathematics, which just don't work. Period. So when you go back to pre-Einsteinian times, a guy called Heaviside who first translated Maxwell's electromagnetism. He wrote I think three or four books, and the first one was on electric and magnetic fields, and he managed to define them mathematically so they could. He was the guy who got stuff transmitted across the Atlantic because he understood the way frequencies propagate. Very clever. But his second volume was all about gravity. Force would be too slow, and that's been echoed by several other people from the 1800s that say that the speed of the guiding principle for electric fields has to move like it could hit the Andromeda galaxy in a second flat, which is I mean, it takes light 100,000 years to go across our galaxy, and what they're saying is that the guiding field, the magnetic field, or the etheric field, is instantaneous, which means that the galaxy has a clock. It's connected at the etheric level. Now, the proof of that is that one arm looks exactly the same. They're symmetrical. One arm looks exactly the same as the other one. If they weren't connected, they'd be random, but they're not. They're connected. And that means that there's instantaneous communication between them. Maybe not communication. There's some principle by which both sides of the galaxy work, and they're 100,000 light years apart in terms of time, but they're instantaneously connected by the etheric field, and that's the whole basis of his. But he calls it inertia, and I don't know why. I cannot work out.
Again, that sounds like a Greek food. That just like.
Well, he's just extrapolated from the original Greek principle. The Greeks weren't stupid. I mean, they had they fully understood the way physics and stuff work, and physics branches into metaphysics, and they're actually the same. But there's something, and it's there's threads of what he says in modern biology. There's very eminent scientists. One guy called Rupert Sheldrake, who champions the fact that the universe, I mean, the principles in the universe have to be connected. Otherwise, it just wouldn't hang together. You know, it's impossible to. It's impossible to describe how the motions of the galaxies and the planets using modern physics. what modern physics does is say, well, we haven't worked it out yet. But they got it all wrong. They're wrong right from as soon as they made quantum mechanics. This was Einstein. As soon as he branched off from the original concept of ether, which is the governing principle behind gravity and magnetism, and in fact it all boils down to magnetism. That's what keeps the atom inflated, and that's what keeps anything that has volume is due to the the dielectric field, which is magnetism. So it's a very, very fundamental. But anyway, he's written 3 books. I can't understand the 3rd volume, the 3rd edition. But he keeps alluding to, for the last 3 or 4 years, he keeps alluding to the 4th edition, which he says has a lot more in it, but he just hasn't released it. I just wonder if someone is stepping on his toes. Because there's just not enough in the first 3 volumes to create a full picture. He's done apparently a lot of and apparently got some patents or something. So he keeps alluding to stuff that he's done that he doesn't talk about. But it certainly describes what the phenomenon that we see an awful lot more accurately than modern physics does. Modern physics is just a waste of time. It's a way of collecting grant money for their big fucking accelerators that no one really knows what the hell they do anyway. So I'll go through it one more time. I'll listen to it again. Because every time something else crystallizes, and once I get a full picture, I won't even wait for his fourth. That's why I listen to his show, because people ask him questions on his live feed, and he kind of answers them, but he doesn't. Then he goes back to his favorite subject, which is photography, and that's what he talks about mostly. But every now and again, people will ask him something, and he'll tell them a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. But he doesn't elaborate by any means on it. But anyway, there are other people who are working on the same thing, explaining his stuff, but they have a slightly different perspective on it. So his theories are built into theirs, but I think they're a little obtrusive for modern applications. But then you see there's these fuckers out there who claim to have plasma. Every time he has interviews, we're going to release free energy any day now. He's been saying that for the last 2 years, 3 years. So this guy's obviously a plant. And then someone on the live stream asked him if he knew Nassim Haramein. He said, "Yeah, of course I do," and that was it. So he knows of him. I don't know, but he wouldn't elaborate as to why the hell is this fucker stuck in Hawaii collecting $300 course fees for just to teach them the same old bullshit and not moving anywhere. So something, there's an underlying obfuscation. Someone's pulling the curtains closed on this. And it's happened like in 3 or 4 other things as well. Like there was a movement called Thrive, which were making inroads into like the application of toroidal forces, which is magnetism, and then the guy just disappeared for 2 years. He just stopped answering emails and everything, and he just came back and said, "Hey, we made some new T-shirts."
Okay then.
And this is relevant because they're starting to turn the fucking lights out now in California, and you think they won't do that anywhere else?
What have I missed? My goodness gracious. Jose called and took up my whole time. He asked me.
That shit was
Steve
crazy.
Harvey.
That shit was crazy. That shit was crazy. He's like, so dad, how babies are born? So back in the Chinese dynasty, we rode horses and shit. Here we go.
Wow, I missed a lot.
Thanks. You still piss me off, though.